Assalamu alaikum viewers, welcome to NOA's YouTube channel. I am your host Zareen Nair, and sitting with us today is Zoha, Malik, Sher, one of the famous 5 Sher sisters who passed CSS. She passed CSS herself in 2019 and has been allocated to the group OMG. Assalamu alaikum Zoha, how are you?
Walaikum assalam, and thank you for this lovely introduction, and I'm feeling great, alhamdulillah.
You 5 sisters have made it look so easy to pass CSS. So I would love to know more about what it was like for you. So first tell us about yourself, a small introduction.
I belong to Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, from Haripur, Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, and I did my graduation in international relations from National Defense University, Islamabad, and then I appeared in CSS 2019, and alhamdulillah today I'm here.
We all know about you 5 sisters, but what about the rest of your family? What do they do?
My father is a retired Wabda officer, and currently he is a businessman. He's doing his business, and my mother is a housewife, but she was the first girl to graduate from her village and city, from the region that she belonged to.
Where did you get your initial education from?
So I did my initial education from Presentation Convent High School, Rawalpindi.
Did you always plan on doing CSS, or did you ever have any other dream, like becoming a ballerina or a chef or something?
You name it. I mean, I remember that every now and then I used to change my dream as a child. Some days I wanted to go to the moon to become an astronaut. Someday I wanted to become a librarian, and you know, dream of being a librarian was a much committed dream to me. I don't know why, but it was. And then, you know, from being a doctor to an engineer to so many things. And that is what actually, you know, I tell people that when I used to tell this to my father especially, you know, someday I'll become a politician, someday I was thinking about to name a political party, then the other day I would like to become a lecturer. So, but whenever I used to tell him that, he never told me that I couldn't be that thing. I couldn't be in that profession. Even I said about an astronaut, and he said, yes, it would be fun to go on the moon, to be in NASA. So, you know, he never actually told me that I cannot be someone, or I cannot fit in, you know, in a certain profession due to whatsoever reason. He always encouraged and inspired me. So then when I was in university, I always had this urge of doing something, of just, you know, making something out of my life. So I got a wonderful opportunity at Radio Pakistan Islamabad. I used to anchor and host shows over there.
Oh, that's so cool. I had no idea.
I used to do that as a student. And then I think that was the time when I got inspired for civil services, because my program was related to women empowerment in the rural areas. And when I started doing that program, and when the feedback started to come in, I was astonished. I mean, men, fathers, you know, brothers, and you know, everybody, they were just asking things. And then I realized that if only my audio voice can, you know, impact certain people's life, why not to, you know, just seek a job that with my voice and also my actions I can do something. And I thought that civil services was that platform.
So that's a really interesting story, because people probably think she was inspired to do CSS क्योंकि इसकी 4 बहनों सबने CSS किया, तो she had to do it, या अबू ने सिखाया होगा कि ज़रूर करना है क्योंकि फैमिली अब रेपुटेशन है कि 5 बहनें कर लें. But it's very interesting कि आप कह रही हैं कि रेडियो से आपको इंस्पिरेशन मिला.
बिल्कुल, मतलब जब वहाँ पर मुझे वो फीडबैक मिलता था, और मैंने सोचा कि क्योंकि मेरे जहन में हमेशा से ये बात थी कि कुछ ऐसा करना है कि मैं अपने लिए, तो जाहिर सी बात है, आई शुड बिकम इकोनॉमिकली इंडिपेंडेंट, बट देयर शुड बी समथिंग आई कैन, यू नो, पुट इन बैक. So then I thought that yes, civil services is the platform and I should come here.
तो आपको ये नहीं था कि मेरी 4 बड़ी बहनों ने किया है, मैं भी कर लेती हूँ?
वो थोड़ी सी मुझे encouragement ज़रूर थी और एक support था, and I had this belief कि हाँ, if they can do it, I can also do that. But my way to approach civil services was this way, not like a regular what's taught and what's mostly taught, that, you know, it's like, you know, I even read, somebody wrote that I carry the blue blood of bureaucracy. It's not that true. I have you know, worked really hard for it, and every single one of us, we put in our individual efforts, and Allah then blessed us.
How much of your life did you spend planning कि मैं CSS करूँगी, और बड़ी बहनों की वजह से आप पे कोई प्रेशर था कि इन्होंने किया है, अब मैंने कह दिया कि मैं भी करूँगी, I have to pass? Did you feel that pressure?
There was a pressure. I mean, everybody, when I used to tell them that I'm going to sit in the exam, the first reaction was, you're going to clear it. It was a pressure because CSS is very unpredictable. Till the end, you're not sure if you're going to, even if you pass the written examination, you're not sure if you're going to seek allocation or not. So it's extremely unpredictable. So I had pressure, and I also, as my sisters had passed, so I also had to give my best in it. लेकिन मैंने किया कुछ जो कि I think I turned that pressure into a much positive way. I worked more hard, I studied more, I put in a lot of hard work that actually made me reel on to work more hard, in short. तो वो एक positively I guess मेरे पे impact पड़ा उसका.
Do you feel like because जो news में आया है 5 बहनें that you've somewhat lost your individuality in all of the news and all of the press, के लोग आपके नाम भी सही तरह से नहीं जानते, बस ये पता है कि वो 5 शेर sisters जो हैं. Do you feel like your individuality is lost?
To be honest, I had never thought that this will become such a big news. When the written examination का जब result आया, so I was like, okay, I'm going to tell my parents and my close friends, and that is it. And I will sleep peacefully and I'll start studying for the interview. But then there were some tweets, and then some famous people, they especially I would like to name Kapil Dev, minority rights activist in Pakistan. He shared the news on Twitter, and that actually became viral in instant.
Okay.
And that was actually, I never thought of it. So it was a bit of a shock for me. I was not ready, I was not prepared for it. But then I saw a very positive impact of people. I mean, girls, they started calling me fathers. I mean, you name an age group, they all congratulated me, they called me, and I, especially there were people who called me when they gave birth to 4th or 3rd baby girl.
Wow.
So they were like, we have, because of your story, we are really inspired. So that actually, pushed me कि नहीं, जो हुआ ठीक हुआ. It's being an inspiring story for many people.
What would you say about that? And as the 5th daughter, do you feel like you have overcome some sort of barrier in society, showing people that just because you have 5 sisters, इसका ये मतलब नहीं है कि आप बोझ हैं, और जैसे लोग कहते हैं हर बेटियां हैं बस इनकी शादी करा लें.
Exactly.
What were struggles in society you faced, stereotypes and barriers you feel like you broke yourself?
It is indeed a very horrible thing not being happy on the birth of a child, be it any gender. But I think that not my parents, but yes, my extended family, because I think it's a very cultural thing. It's not even their fault. Mm-hmm. It's a very it's rooted deep. It's deeply rooted in our culture that there is a need for boys, and they just parents become happy when they have a baby boy. So my extended family, they did felt a little bit sad, and my birth was not celebrated the way my elder sister's birth was, because I was the 5th one, and they all were hoping that might be chalo is baar shayad,
And that's sort of natural that you want a boy and a daughter, not that one is less than the other, but having both is like a complete package.
So my extended family was, and I think that but the point is that yes, this story, like my sister's story, that creates an impact, because what we feel after having seeing a home full of daughters is that kya banega, because daughter is a sign of a weakness, also again a cultural thing. So this story, actually our story, is challenging a bit of this concept that no, if you are having daughters, they may be the future, so
yes,
don't worry about them.
What would you say to all the women out there who are looking at you and your sisters for inspiration?
I think the message that I would like to give is to have faith in yourself, and never to consider yourself a little demotivated or a little less because of your gender, because you are a woman. I mean, if you're a woman, you can do anything that you want. So believe in yourself, have faith in yourself of doing things, and taking a challenge is an excellent thing, and one should. And girls, especially young girls, because in our society there are many barriers. So I know that the barriers exist, but try to break them and try to do your best, and just have faith in yourself that you can do it.
What would you say was unique to you and your sisters that you all passed CSS? क्योंकि ऐसा लगता है कि आपने कोई कोड क्रैक कर लिया, पांचों बहनें एक साथ बैठ के कहते हैं चलो मैं तुम्हें सीक्रेट बताती हूँ लेकिन और किसी को नहीं बताना, हम सब पास हो जाएंगे। तो ऐसा कुछ यूनिक था कि आप पांचों बहनों ने किया है कि आप सब पास हुई हैं?
ये ऐसा ही समझा जाता है, लेकिन आई थिंक कि इसका मेन रीज़न अगर मैं देखूँ तो दैट इज़ आवर पेरेंट्स ट्रेनिंग दैट दे गिव अस. आई मीन माई पेरेंट्स दे टेल अस दैट इवन व्हेन दे न्यूली गॉट मैरिड दे हैड स्कूल इन देयर माइंड के बच्चों को कहाँ पढ़ाना है. दे हैड ऑलरेडी थॉट ऑफ इट. सो यहाँ से आप अंदाज़ा लगा सकते हैं कि हाउ मच दे वर कंसर्न्ड अबाउट अस. एंड आई थिंक दैट द ट्रेनिंग दे गिव अस, I have never ever in my life felt that I cannot do something because I'm a girl, or I cannot, get something because of my gender. I never considered it in my home premises. But, as growing up, I realized कि हाँ ये चीज़ society में पाई जाती है. The treatment towards daughters is different from sons. लेकिन I think ये जो इनकी treatment थी, वो जो faith हम में था, एतमाद था कि you are going to do something, and we were treated as equal as boys or anybody else. So I think that confidence made us clear this exam.
So what was your method of studying? Which books? How much time did you take? Where did you get your guidance from? How long did you study?
I think there is also one advice from this question that I would like to give to all the aspirants, is that my method was, first of all, जो एक चीज़ हम CSS की examination में बैठते हुए देखते हैं वो है for choosing our optionals. I think one must go after one's interest. जहाँ पर आपको interest है, जहाँ पर आपको कोई subject पढ़ने में दिलचस्पी है, आपको अच्छा लगता है, I would highly regard कि आप वो उस तरफ जाएं, क्योंकि that subject will not fail you. I cannot guarantee if you're going to get good marks or not, but that subject will not fail you at least. And then secondly, I think study hours, they were, it's a very subjective question, because there were days when I studied for like 12 hours to 16 hours, and there were days when I studied only for 4 to 5 hours. So it's just seeing that what I have to do today, or how much energy do I have to I have that I can complete the topic that I am studying. So it's really different, and I think the guidance is here. I mean, NOA is a wonderful institution where I met these amazing teachers, and they thoroughly guided me and I think the best thing about NOA is that they answer all those questions that just trigger you, that you're not able to find anywhere else, that you can just come here and ask, and you're going to get answers for your questions. So it's like a magic hug, and it's true that your dreams come true. So yes, I'm really, honestly, I'm really thankful to NOA.
What about your older sisters? मुझे याद है जब मैं O levels करी थी, मेरी बड़ी बहन मेरे पास आके कहती थी, अब मुझे बताओ इस्लामियात में इस क्वेश्चन का आंसर बताओ. Did your sisters ever come and test you कि ज़ोहा बताओ कि ये तुमने कैसी तैयारी की, कहाँ से क्या किया?
Many a times, and I think with Sassi, I usually go in a debate. I mean, she's like, okay, tell me what Marx said in that theory, and when I tell her, it's like, no, he didn't say this, and I'm like, he said this, and she's like, no, and then we have a regular fight. But I remember the times when, having dinner, and my sisters would be like, okay, tell me, what's the meaning of this idiom? What do you think? Make a sentence with it. So I have, because I'm the youngest one, so I've passed through a lot of these hurdles, I must say, to get checked. And sometimes my mother was like, go and check her essays. So they would be like, what are you preparing? And what do you think? No, that's not a good point. Add some more. So I think that it's in a light mode, but that really helped me. I mean, I was always eager that they're going to come and they'll listen, or they're going to ask things, and if I will not know, so that would be a bit of embarrassment for me. So that goes on in our home.
What were your optional subjects, and which one did you struggle with the most?
I had international relations, international law, US history, gender studies and anthropology.
Okay.
So I think that international relations, because I had my degree in that, and that's a very tough subject to handle, so I had to give much time. And then as I was also always scared of IR, because I knew it's in my I have done my degree in it.
Exactly.
And I was always very alert about it कि कहीं ये ना हो कि मैं इसको इस confidence पे छोड़ दूँ कि ये मुझे आता है. So I put most of my, and international law too. These two subjects, yes.
As difficult as people say it was, and was it as easy as some people will say it is, or is there a balance somewhere? Which way do you think it would lean?
CSS is difficult. I would not say that it is not difficult. It is difficult because you do not know what the result would come even after putting much hard work in it.
Exactly.
But on the other hand, I will say that it's not impossible. Don't leave this opportunity just for the sake that you consider yourself not capable of doing it. Anyone can do this. It just needs some consistency, hard work, and a lot of focus. You have to give up to a lot of your social life and things around you and study like straight 6 to 8 months, I think, the least. It is difficult, but again, not impossible.
What advice would you give to someone who's starting their preparation now, who is sitting in their room right now terrified of starting preparation?
Well, I will suggest that, I've seen this thing that people, they usually, aspirants especially, they try to find out what, it's good actually to find out that what the candidate who has already passed the exam, what that candidate routine of study was. But I think find your own way. I will suggest to find your own interest, go by your strengths, analyze your weaknesses. For instance, if you know that you're not good in a certain subject, give it more time. Be it a subject that people consider it a very easy subject, or it can be done in 10 to 12 days, or see yourself. So I think CSS is an amazing process. It actually makes you realize, and it actually makes you know about yourself more, about the things the strengths you can play on and your weakness that you can work upon. And also I would like to advise that please do not be afraid of having a weakness. If you are not good at something, if you're not good at English writing, if your writing is not good, if you're not good at précis and composition, don't worry about it. Embrace your weakness and then try to work on it, and slowly and gradually you will see that you will get a positive result.
And how did you end up coming to NOA?
NOA is like a family to me. My eldest sister was, Shiri Malik Sher was the first student of NOA. I have a long interaction. I mean, I think I was in 5th or 6th grade when I used to come here to drop my sister because she was here. So it's a long attachment.
And that brings me to a question I wanted to ask you. There is Laila, Shiri, Marvi, Sasi, and Zoha, and your name is quite different. And I would like to say again, Zoha. People often argue with me कि नहीं Zoya hai, but I keep saying नहीं Zoha hai.
It's Zoha.
So would you like to highlight your name and let people know, okay, it's Zoha Malik Sher.
Yes, so my name is Zoha Malik Sher. It's not Zoya. And yes, my name is different. And it's a very, I think, as a child, I used to ask my father this question, that and on a lighter note, I'm going to share a funny thing over here too, because I used to tell my father that Laila has Majnu, Shiri has Farhat, Sasi, Punnu, Marvi, Umar. Where's my hero? And he told me one day that you have a hero. And I said, who? He said, Yasser Arafat, because his wife's name is Zoha. And I was so happy. I mean, I was very young at that time. I think I was in kindergarten. I was 4 or 5 years old. At that day, I was so happy because I finally found a hero with my name. And then when I grew up, I found out that it was a very terrible joke. But on a serious note, my father, I asked him when I grew up, and I asked him that why you named me differently. So he said that when I was born, as I was the 5th one, so when he came to see me, he saw that my near and dears, my relatives were quite not happy because obviously they were all expecting a baby boy. So my father said that it was sort of a moment for him, because he thought that this is a baby girl who has come into this life, who has come into this world. Her presence should be celebrated, but because she's a girl, people are not doing so. So then he named me Zoha, that is inspired by Quran, and it is Surah Zoha is considered to be an antidepressant, and because in this we see that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, for a very long period he was not receiving any word of God. So he was quite worrisome, and people had started taunting him. So then Surah Zoha was revealed, where God says that, he promises by this name, that is Zoha, that is the first ray of sun, that God is with you, and the future that is going to come is better than today.
Wow.
So that was from my father. He got inspired by this, and he thought to name me Zoha, because he said that maybe she's my last one, but she's going to be my first ray of sun.
Coming back to NOA after that little tidbit, what would you say your experience was like here?
I think I love being here. I mean, it as I said, that all your answers are answered, all your questions are actually answered over here. And the best thing that I like about NOA is that, many a times when we are preparing for CSS, we are told that all right, there's a précis or there's an essay, or this is how you have to attempt it. But after writing down the question, हमें पता नहीं होता कि जो हमने लिखा है वो सही लिखा है कि नहीं.
Exactly.
So here the teachers are actually available who can check your work and tell you कि क्या ये civil services की examination के लिए उसके बराबर उस पे पहुंच रहा है या नहीं पहुंच रहा.
Exactly.
And that is, I think, a huge help. That is a huge help. And although mostly the qualifiers, they check it, or the experts of the subject, so they tell you in a much better way कि आपने जो लिखा है क्या वो CSS के मेयार के मुताबिक है या नहीं.
A lot of people say that NOA is like family, so what would you say about that?
It is. I think for me it is. And I always feel really happy when I come over here. I enjoy seeing lovely aspirants, young people aspiring to become a part of civil services, learning. And it has this atmosphere of learning. Students, after their class, they would sit together, they would discuss different theories, they would discuss about their subjects. The teachers are all really helpful. So it is a second home. NOA is a family.